Hello everybody and welcome to my review of Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, directed by Besson, starring Dane, DeHaan and Cara Delevine. So, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, apparently based on a comic book, which I've never heard of, but there we go. So, the plot is kind of confusing, so I'm gonna read off the IMDb page just because it's much easier. A dark force threatens Alpha, a vast metropolis and home to species from 1,000 planets. Special operatives Valerian and Alain must race to identify the marauding menace and safeguard not just Alpha, but the future of the universe. And that is essentially your plot of Valerian, in brief. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. I'm with the majority on this one. Yep, this movie is not very good. This is a shame. This movie had a lot of potential. I mean, I like sci-fi stuff. I'm very, very into all that. I like my Star Wars and you know, all of that. So, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Besson. I've only seen one of his other movies. I've seen Lucy, and I wasn't particularly a fan of that. I have reviewed that movie if you want to go and check that out. But see, as for this, I had pretty much no expectations for it. I wasn't really looking forward to it, but I thought I'll go and check it out. It looks cool, and that's really all I can say about it. It looks cool. It looks great. I mean, you know, the world that Besson's created, he's trying to rival kind of Star Wars and Avatar and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's all the big sci-fi franchises, kind of, you know. I mean, the world building of this is essentially a homage to all those big things, which is nice. But the problem with this movie is the script. Oh my god, the story and the characters. Oh, it's messy. It's messy. And, you know, whilst I would have appreciated it as a fun action movie, but I can't. I just can't. It's not paced very well. It drags so much. It is way too long at 2 hours 17 minutes. And I don't think that Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevine are particularly great. I mean, Cara Delevine is probably a bit better. She's alright. She gives an alright performance. But Dane DeHaan, I think he was a miscast. For me, as Dane DeHaan as an actor, I've only seen him in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and, of course, this. I find him to be very intense. I don't know if that's just me. I think he's a very intense guy. And, you know, I think he works better playing as a antagonist rather than a protagonist. And certainly doesn't work as a romantic lead. I mean, whilst to an extent some of the scenes with him and Cara Delevine are nice, but you don't really buy their romance. You don't really buy that these two actually do fall in love. There's no chemistry. There's a lack of chemistry, and as a result, there's just so much visually being thrown at you that the story isn't very compelling. I got bored. And, you know, the story is just all over the place. I mean, fuck me. There's just so much wrong with it. Like, they've got to go after this, then they've got to go to this. There's so much location hopping. I lost track of the story. I'm still, even now, I'm confused about the story. I mean, when it's, well, in the third act of the movie, when they explain everything in regarding of the pearls, even then I'm still confused. And the fact that this revolves around a tiny little pearl, I was just like, what? Are you serious? What? Oh my god! What? Just what? The story's a mess. My goodness me! Like, the idea of the pearls and how those the people of the Mule, which is the planet that gets destroyed in the very beginning, how they basically, you know, are looking for this pearl, and this what's I can't remember what the little creature. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called like the curator, collector, or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but they need those two things to rebuild their planet. How? It's never explained, and why? It's never explained. Oh my god, this is just ridiculous. And speaking of the two actors, I forgot to mention near the beginning, the first scene we see of them, they're on this virtual beach in their swimwear. Both of them. Dane DeHaan's in his swimming trunks, and Cara Delevine is in her bikini. I'm not going to lie, I can't deny I have a huge fucking crush on Cara Delevine, and she's very beautiful, and obviously she's a model, so... well, model now actress. So it's nice to have a bit of eye candy, but... you know, she often... And then for the next part of the movie, she... when they go to this desert planet, which looks a bit like Tatooine from Star Wars... she dresses in this really skimpy outfit, which is a bit weird. She's meant to be like this sort of agent of this space operation, and it's just ridiculous seeing her wearing this you know, this sort of bikini, essentially, this white bikini, and with the overcoat. I mean, I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not going to rant on about that. And why the fuck was Rihanna in this movie? What? I mean, her character is so pointless and added nothing to the movie. Absolutely nothing. I mean, it's sad, actually, because Rihanna's character, Bubble, as they call her, is actually probably one of the more developed characters of the film. And she's only in 5 minutes of the movie. Sorry about that. Rihanna's in 5 minutes of the movie, and her character's one of the most developed characters of the film. That's sad. That's really sad. I mean, one thing Valerian does have going for it are the action sequences. I guess the action sequences are quite well done. They're quite competently helmed, and they are fun to an extent. And I enjoyed the look of the film, the world of it. I mean, the aesthetics are fantastic. And it's basically all this. There's a scene when they have to go to this other dimensional market where Valerian, he puts on these glasses, and he's wandering the desert, but he's actually in another dimension where this other market is, and he's trying to chase the bad guys and trying to collect this little creature that they're after, which is cool. That's a nice scene. Again, visually it's nice, and it's nice to kind of look at it. But it gets tiresome after a while, and this movie's way too long. It's 2 hours 17 minutes. That's really long, and I think this would have, if they cut 20 minutes out of it, it would have been a lot more fun. I would have passed it off as a fun, you know, passable romp. I can't even give it a pass. I can't, because the structure of it is so poor, so poorly helmed. I mean, it's very clear that, you know, the two leads have been cast. I mean, they are talented in acting and what they do. But for this movie, they have been cast mainly because of their looks. They're good looking. I mean, especially Cara Delevine, who's like a model. She's amazing. I mean, her character's very stereotypical. You know, she's a feisty, sassy girl, and you know, she's this agent. She's a badass as well. Whereas Dane DeHaan, he's just kind of nothing, really. I mean, his character's just so boring. I just don't care for him as a protagonist. There's no emotional punch to this movie. They try to force the romance plot down your throat, like oh, this is what real love is. You know, is actually, you know, doing something for, you know, trusting in somebody else. I mean, there's this whole the romance kind of takes over the film, to be honest. Luc Besson's direction is it's not great. It really isn't. I don't know. I mean, he's obviously made something that looks great, but it's sad when it feels like this movie's been made by a visual effects supervisor or a cinematographer, or both of them together, and it doesn't feel like dramatically there's no weight to this movie whatsoever. I mean, and you know, I mean, I got nothing else to say. Again, it just reminded me how this isn't Star Wars, this isn't Avatar, this isn't Guardians of the Galaxy, this isn't any other sci-fi franchise that you can think of. It's a forgettable, all-right action romp, and that's too long, and story-wise doesn't hang itself together. There are 20 minutes in the middle of this movie that could have been cut, where they just stand around talking, and I'm just like, come on. But what the hell? What do I know? I guess the music score is okay. And there are some cool action scenes, but ultimately there's no point going to see this movie because it really does. It's not going to give you very much, and the story's confusing. And God, in the name of all sanity, the fact that it revolves around a fucking piece of jewelry. Oh God! And I thought the twist in Cars 3 was disappointing. God. There's nothing else out. I should have just gone on to see War of the Planet of the Apes again. In fact, I might well go and see War for the Planet of the Apes again, even though I've already seen it a few times. I don't care. It's a way better film. So, as for Valerian, I'm going to give this movie 5 out of 10. Yeah, don't go and see it. I mean, the beginning scene surprised me actually. When they were in their swimwear, I was like, oh, okay, wow, okay, sex appeal. Whilst sometimes that's not a bad thing. In this instance, it was a bit like, I don't mind looking at Cara Delevine in her swimwear, but for this, it wasn't appropriate. Anyway, sorry about that. That's my review of Valerian. Stay tuned for future reviews. I'm going to be reviewing Men of Black 3. I'm going to review Kingsman. And yeah, I'm going to do the Planet of the Apes movies ranking. I'm doing it in 2 parts because there's 9 films, so it's going to take a while. So, until then, thank you guys all for watching, and as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.